under which they owe it a duty of faith to kill us, and the people who embrace the feudalist worldview in which they say all men are not born equal, therefore they are born to rule the rest of the people and own their assets. Now they've gone even beyond that to launching an ethnic cleansing campaign against the rest of the country, inviting the Fulani from all over the world, all over Africa, to come to join them. You saw the governor in Bauchi the other time talking about Fulani from everywhere belonging to Nigeria. You saw Buhari opening our borders for them to pour in. And you've seen the kind of, onslaught they've been executing. And you saw the federal government that has exclusive control of arms and the armed services. You saw what they've done with all the killings going on. Buhari was the one at the time the Boko Haram, Jonathan wanted to have a meeting with Boko Haram. You remember, it was Buhari that they nominated as their spokesman in the meeting that would have happened in Saudi Arabia. However, he came to that position. Why was it not me nominated? It was Buhari. He was the same Buhari that we're talking about at the time Niger was struggling with them. Buhari says, oh, an attack on Boko Haram is an attack on the north. How am I to interpret that? Buhari was he's been a grand patron of Miyetti Allah. From the point in 2014 that Boko Haram, which they all had a hand in how it was formed, Boko Haram, you remember in 2014, went into an open alliance with the ISIS. You remember, and they became ISWAP. And together they pushed so much that Jonathan had to leave office. Not because they want him in any election, but they were threatening violence on such a scale. Immediately Buhari was sworn in. You saw that joint venture of ISIS and Boko Haram became Fulani herdsmen that began to sack communities after communities and replacing them with Fulani from Mali and Senegal and everywhere they came from. Further down the road, the same Miyetti Allah that was the owner of the cows that were supposed to be headed by these Fulani herdsmen that are now killing people. Miyetti Allah began to take responsibility for the killings, boasting for the killings of the Fulani herdsmen. At a time there's a Fulani president. The governor in Benue went to Abuja because the constitution forbids him from having arms or deploying arms. He went to tell the commander-in-chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that strangers were coming into his domain and killing people on a large scale. Buhari said to him, oh no, go back home. That's autumn. Go back home and learn how to live in peace with Fulani of Benue. That was the answer of your president to a governor under distress. Then the defense minister of the time turns around to say, oh, you see, all of you who built on ancient grazing roads, you better go and remove your development so that cows can pass freely. The Inspector General of Police turns around to say, oh, all of you who pass anti-open grazing bills into law and enforcing it, you are the cause of the problem. You better go and repeal those laws, otherwise you have to contend with the herdsmen by yourself. Inspector General of Police, in a federation in which only the federal government had exclusive control over all arms. People were being killed in such large numbers. Then we saw El-Rufai, governor in Kaduna, telling us that he went to 14 different countries to give money to people who were coming from outside to kill people in southern Kaduna. That was his answer. As I speak with you, from the time in 2015 when these killings began, not one person had been arrested by the armed forces of Nigeria or the federal government of Nigeria or the state government of Kaduna, where most of the killings have been taking place. When you put it all together, you will see that they are not only looking away, they are actually facilitating and colluding, like General Danjuma did allege. Looking at where Danjuma was coming from, you think he was joking in that kind of allegation? And if anybody was in doubt about the collusion, at the time COVID-19 lockdown came, movements were restricted completely. But in that same period, the Fulani that are poured in from everywhere on the invitation of their kinsman who is present here were being moved into the south in scores and scores of trucks every night. whoever imposed that lockdown, whoever was enforcing it against everybody else, will have to be the one to explain to us how that large number of Fulani found their ways from wherever they were bringing them from into the southern territories. And so, if anybody was in doubt, that was proof of collusion between the federal government and these invaders. And of course, it came to where we had to go to raise alarm in the US, to people who were at war with ISIS, to tell them that the ISIS you are at war with have been invited by the government of our country in the Boko Haram they were doing before, that joined the forces with the ISIS in 2014, and together they are doing business. If you are still at war with them, you better come now, because they want to take over the entire place here. And when they reinforce themselves in the manner they can, let me show you.
Yeah.
Right. Now, we're switching power every step of the way. Now, this is West Africa. This is West Africa. You see Nigeria somewhere. Here's Nigeria, and here's the Sharia belt in that Nigeria. All of this red big circle is the territory being targeted by ISIS in West Africa. What you see happening in Nigeria is that they are trying to sweep their way, ethnic cleansing. They are killing the owners of all these places, bringing Fulani from all over this place to plant in this Nigeria, the balance of Nigeria here, so that the Fulani of Africa will have a homeland for the first time. And ISIS will have an operational base with the resources of Nigeria, including the military resources, including the process of 3 million barrels of oil and gas a day. They will have the means to declare their Islamic Caliphate, the type they tried to do in with Syria and Iraq. That's what ISIS is here in joint venture with the Fulani that want homeland for themselves. So the federal government of Nigeria, presided over by Fulani elements, are actually in that joint venture to resettle the Fulani from everywhere in Nigeria and to hand over the territory of Nigeria to ISIS for their global operations. That was what we went to show the US how it was happening throughout last year. Luckily, they had the presence of mind to listen. They interrogated it for 7 months, and they came to the decision that the situation called for something they have to do in their national security interest. And that was how we came about the executive order signed on June the 2nd. In that executive order, you saw that Trump says this is national security imperative and that it will have priority whatever else they are doing in their foreign policy. So we've come to where the only way to keep the Nigerian Union is for the constituents to be ready to be killed to the last person. If we do not want to be killed, then we have to give up that dummy called one Nigeria, the Nigeria of imposition, the Nigeria of brigandage, the Nigeria of bloodletting, the Nigeria of master and servant. No different, in fact, it's worse than apartheid. In apartheid South Africa, you were at least sure that the Boers they were developing systems. Yes, the blacks were excluded, but what system has the Fulani developed here, other than denigrating and destroying what was in place? And so we say Nigeria has become a fraud to the extent that it is defined by this constitution and not the constitutions by which we federated. Nigeria has become a toxic liability and not an asset for those who are trapped here against their will. And if after 53 years of waiting, from the time, it's not even 53 years anymore, from 1967 to date, from after their Buri meetings, if we have not found the discipline to going back to becoming, to being a federation one more time, I think it's an option for those who are trapped here to exercise their right to self-determination. Unfortunately, for those who are trying to hold Nigeria by brigandage, by force, the UN instrument on the situation, because this constitution was done in negation of our right to self-determination. And if you thought I was making conjectures, I will take you to section 14, subsection 2A. Just listen to it so you can understand the basic. Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria. That belong to the Ijaw, belong to the Ogoni, belong to the Tiv, belong to the nationalities, from whom government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. And so it is in the pretense that the people had exercised that sovereignty and had made a constitution that they wrote the falsehood into the preamble that says we the people have solemnly agreed. But unfortunately for them, they leave evidence of the fact that we never met, how much more agreeing. And it is a combination of all of this that has given rise to the process, the campaign by those who are trapped here to restore their sovereignty to themselves. Are we still there?
We're here, we're listening to you.
Right. So that's really where we are. The UN instrument that define what will happen, the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, 2007, I have a copy of it here, entitles the indigenous nationalities trapped here to their right to self-determination, and is inalienable. And what we have done is to organize them in the formations they can very easily exercise that right. And no matter what anybody thinks or says at this time, until the matter gets to referendum, this constitution will have to go down first. There's no debate about that. Nobody has to be persuaded about the forgery that this is, in terms of the fact that we have rejected it across board by solemn assemblies in Port Harcourt, in Ibadan, and in Makurdi between 2015, that was Port Harcourt, 2017, that was Ibadan, and then 2018, that was Makurdi. We have the owners of Nigeria, the indigenous nationalities of Nigeria, who are now under the threat of extermination, empowered by the constitution they did not make, by a group that pretends that we are still in the union we agreed. They are saying that that union is no longer, that union as defined by this constitution is no longer acceptable to them, and they're going to act together to take down this constitution and bring us to where we have to go to referendum to decide what will happen next. That's what this constitutional force majeure that people have been hearing about is all about. It should have happened before the lockdown, but we lost 5 months. But right now, things have been put back on schedule, and the owners of Nigeria are going to work together, are going to march out together, rejecting this basis of this fraudulent basis of the union that is not only that has not only seized their assets, but is now about to take all their lives. Because as long as this constitution is in place, that federal government that have been hijacked by the Fulani is in a position to kill off everybody and take all their assets, having first entitled themselves to access everywhere under this constitution. You can see the kind of laws that they are passing in the National Assembly that they've seized again. You are talking about the Company and Allied Matters Act in the manner that will enable you go to squeeze out the church from here. You are talking about a waterway bill in which all the waters, all the bodies of water, the land to the left and right of all the bodies of water, will belong to the federal government. Who are they talking to? And those people from southern and middle belt Nigeria sitting with them in Abuja, you are going to hear us loud and clear. We are going to hold you responsible for all of what is done in that place while you are there. We do not care how you voted. If you want to be on the side of the people being killed, on the side of your people being killed, you must come home now. You must step out of that place and not have your name on the process that led to these laws that are being made now. We are saying that our lives are being distressed by the constitution that was imposed. You are prepared to swear to defend and uphold that constitution. And you say you are representing the people that are being killed in Middle Belt, whose assets have been detained in Niger Delta, or the ones who are saying they no longer want to be in the union in Yoruba land. You are there on their behalf, and you are prepared to swear and defend this constitution. Some people are even talking about elections in 2023 under this constitution, including the ones in eastern Nigeria. We are saying to you all, you have to make a choice to be with the enemy that is using this constitution to kill your people, or to come home and be on the side of your people and refuse to do any further business under this constitution. If you think you have become stronger than all of us because there are people in Sokoto and Kano encouraging you, we can only wish you good luck. But you have to take personal responsibility for your roles in sustaining this instrument of death, instrument of attrition, instrument of backwardness. We've not even talked about quotas